kind of lengthy chat with Bill there before the game the other day. He said he spoke to you also last week, like as this is getting going. What are kind of your initial impressions, and what are you kind of hopeful for as his tenure begins eventually?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously seems like a great person and seems super excited about the C's. And has always been a big fan, and it was nice to. I met him a couple weeks ago when all the finalists were coming through, and then talked to him on the phone real briefly before going out to Sacramento. So I haven't spent a ton of time with him, but everything that I've had a chance to do with him, I've really enjoyed, and look forward to working together.
What are you hoping that he'll bring? What are you hoping that he'll act like, whatever, in his new role?
Everybody's got to just be themselves, right, and bring their own authenticity to it. And when you buy a team and when you are invested like that, then it's going to bring great ideas, and we'll operate and execute plans that ultimately he wants to, right? And so, but I've been really impressed with how committed he seems to be to, learning more about kind of this whole how we've done things, both the business side and the basketball side, and also like the idea that I think he recognizes we've got a good thing going, and so for me, like the most important thing in this whole transition are just the people that I work with feel comfortable, and I think that clearly from every indication of every conversation I've had with Bill, I do, and I think everybody should.
How does that go? Obviously, he's been a fan for a while, but now he's going to need to know a lot more about the in-depth nature of how things operate. Is he picking your brain, or is he?
We really haven't had a chance to talk much. I think again the one time as the finalists came through, and then briefly on the phone, and then in Sacramento. So we'll see him when he comes to Boston next week, and look forward to it. I mean, he and Kimberly seem great, and again we're all really looking forward to working with him, and I think Joe mentioned this, and I think some of our players have too. There's also all the people that we've had a chance to be fortunate enough to work for in my first 12 years here that have owned the team for the last 20 plus. Wick's sticking around, but then also, Hags' group. I mean, that's hard when you see those relationships not be a part of it. But I'm just really thankful that we've gotten a chance to spend time with all those people, and we're really looking forward to working with Bill and his group. And I haven't met any. I mean, I know Rob, but I don't know any of the other group.
You said you talked to him when he came through before he agreed to purchase a team. What was your role in that process? And
very limited. So my role, most of the way that it worked, and I'm guessing this is the way it always works. There was probably a big pool of people that were interested in it and had initial conversations, I'm sure, with the bankers and with even our business side of things. And then I wasn't brought in until the final groups, and I just met with each other.
Jason,
maybe an hour or two.
What type of input did you have in that? What were you trying to learn from those guys when you're talking about?
It wasn't. I don't think it was about It's not my say. So it's ultimately the Grousbeck's family's say, and so it was more just meet some of the people that work in basketball ops and just ask any questions that they had. So each group had different versions of what they were most interested in. It was really clear talking to Bill how much he loves the Celtics and how much it means to him, and that's really cool.
Jason has said to us, like, there's times he lists as questionable, and then he plays, and he calls it butting heads, like, because he wants to play every night, basically. And you guys have had conversations about also being smart in the long term. What are the conversations been like? What will they be like? And where do you feel like he's at now after his injury the other night? Obviously, we see him working out there.
Yeah, I mean, luckily when he came back to the locker room, I was in the locker room on what night was that? Was that Monday night? Monday night, and I think it was a scare initially, and then it looked pretty good right out of the gate. So he did treatment all day yesterday. He wants to play all the time, and that's a great thing. You never say Jason Tatum doesn't want to play, right? But today we got to make sure he's 100%, and so he'll go through everything. Probably all just took great videos of him and analyzed his lateral movement and his jumping off one foot and everything else. As we all are, and if he's 100%, then I'm sure he'll play.
Has this been a nerve-wracking process for you, the sale? Like, as the general manager of this franchise, Jason was saying they found out after the championship. Like, what has that, from an emotional experience, been for you?
I found out, maybe 12 hours before it was announced. We all found out at that time. And I think, initially you go through that, okay, we've been really fortunate to be pretty stable for a long time. And not only within ownership, but also a lot of people have been here for a long time. And I think the biggest thing, and I go back to this, my initial thought goes to not the team, not anything but the 60 people in basketball operations. And just like Rich's initial thought goes to the corporate side, right? And making sure that everybody knows that when people come in, there's a good deal of trust of what's being done on both of those sides. Because ultimately, I want to see all of our people do well and continue. And I'm surrounded by such talented people, to be honest, that carry my ass every day. So I want to make sure that all of them, feel good and feel good about the transition and everything else. And I, based on everything, meeting Bill, Wick being around, hearing from both of them, they've given us every indication that that's going to be the case.
Thanks, Brad. Oh, go ahead, Sweetie.
I was
Last
wondering
question.
what your conversation with Wick have been like, especially because he is going to kind of stick through the transition.
Yeah, I mean, again, I never really gave my 2 cents because that's not my role. It's their job, it's their right and everything else to sell the team and make that, make the decision they make. My only thing is just continuing to ask to be kept in the loop on anything I need to know from the standpoint of making decisions here and now and moving forward. And so, as we get to spend more time with Bill, get to spend more time with Wiki and Bill, then we'll have more clarity on kind of, how we, are going to do things. But I really, every indication is it's pretty much business as usual. And so I'm excited about that. But, again, you spend a lot of money on these things. And so you have every right to come in and put your stamp on it however you want. And so I'm looking forward to working with them.